So, you know, I usually bring all these awesome artists on the show, and
Yes.
I think Albuquerque boasts some really cool community organizers that create these cool spaces for these awesome events that I'm always telling you guys about. And it's just people that have a huge passion for their community. And, you know, last week I mentioned that we'd have a lot of poetry to look forward to this month. So today I brought Carlos Contreras, who is really involved in the poetry scene. He's the youngest member to qualify from Albuquerque for the National Slam Poetry Championship.
Oh, wow.
And he's been selected by TEDx ABQ as an education leader or speaker. And he's a lead mentor with Voces at the National Hispanic Cultural Center with Urban Verbs. And then he's recently co-created a new program called Just Right. And then, of course, the list goes on. He's the creator and host of I'll Drink to That, which is a really cool local variety show that goes on at the breweries. But this Sunday, July 21st, they're having a special event. Carlos has teamed up with Colin Troy of Tubers, and they're having the event at the Art Bar. And it's going to focus on the New Mexico Immigrant Law Center and the work that they do. And Carlos is here today to tell us all about that cool gig on Sunday.
You're one busy guy.
I guess it sounds like. It doesn't ever sound like
You didn't know you were that busy, did you?
Yeah. Try not to remind yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you.
Thanks.
You're obviously involved in a lot of things in the community. And where's your heart? What do you love doing most?
You know, everything that I do pretty much revolves around poetry and education. So anything that's involved with words, literary arts, performance or otherwise, if art is involved in some way, shape, or form, you can catch me supporting it or being part of it, I hope.
What is I'll Drink to That? What is that all about?
I'll Drink to That is basically a variety show of sorts. So it actually started because we have a wonderful brewery scene here, and a lot of the folks that run those breweries that brew beer and otherwise are local business trying to sustain themselves here in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And I used to hang out there, liked the art that was on the walls, showed some art at one of them at Tractor. We had an event to bring some art down, and it involved poetry, it involved music, and we saw how people kind of gathered around it and supported it. So that was 15 months ago, the idea for I'll Drink to That was born. So now it's a variety show. It has poets, comedians, live artists, musicians, and we all kind of come to one space on a Sunday and entertain people for free for 3 hours. So.
What's your background that you bring to all of this?
I'm a poet by trade, so I've been doing poetry in schools and on the stage for about a dozen years now. I workshop with young people. The Just Right program that I run, that I co-created, actually works with incarcerated adult populations. So my background is in poetry. I teach at a local high school, but it's all around literary arts.
And you're an artist as well.
I am. I do some visual art. I dabble. I like to call that my hobby because I feel like every other hobby is turning into a job. So I do some visual art once in a while. Yeah.
With all these projects going on and the focus that you have on the literary arts, where do you see this going in the future? Do you think that it's going to expand, become more popular? What's your vision?
You know, it's already kind of grown beyond what I thought it would be. When we did the first show, like I said, and the idea was born, the idea for a monthly show was born, and now we're over a year into it. But there's some really kind of ideas that I'm keeping in my pocket to a certain degree about how we think it'll grow long term. But the breweries are really supporting it, and so what's really exciting to see is that they're sustaining themselves and that business is supporting artists and vice versa. So I just want to continue to keep that kind of that relationship steady and sustainable too, because when local business supports local art, then we're doing something really good for our community.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Art Bar does, is their nonprofit bar, right?
Yeah, Art Bar, which is on 2nd and Gold, just opened on July 1st. Is a 501c3 nonprofit bar.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show the other day. It's an interesting
really
concept.
Cool idea.
Yeah, it's one of 3 in the nation. So it's crazy.
Very interesting idea. I understand you have some poetry for us.
Would you like to hear that now?
Aaron?
Now's your chance.
I'm all
Okay,
ears.
let's go. I strive for perfection. It was branded into me. Expected to be a better version of self with the setting of each sun. Each sun, a different rendition of the same song. My melody, discordant though it may be, sings. Because I'd do anything to be able to. But instead, I write. And these instances are never the final draft. Edit in progress. I am a practitioner of process. Poetry bent into the frame of this ink scrawl must have something, sometimes finding nothings at the end of me. New beginnings offered each day with the rising of the sun. And I don't mind the grind, sweat, hustle, humble, respectful, respectable. I respect boundaries even when ignoring or breaking them. Aware that they are there, often pushed beyond the comfortable to find the memorable. Remember me for being the weird kid, loud one, squeaky wheel, loose screw, dollar short, but never a minute too late. In fact, sometimes too soon for what's about to come. Coming out of my shell, I figured out these wings need no cocoon. Monarch mounting metaphor, I'm still flying. I write like that's all there is to life, because sometimes it is. But I've become comfortable with that I cannot control, which can commonly be deduced to my own thoughts, emotions, and fingertips. Mouth, feet, and lips, I'm a mess. Masked mayhem with ink and a story to tell. Remember me for being confusing, confident, coincidentally always there when you need me, but confused as to what I should be doing. Things are getting done by means and matters of importance. I will remember myself not as important, but better yet insignificantly different than you. Because we make better music when making moments with our conversations. You see, life is a foreign language. Our interactions are simply the translations. I am fork-tongued, never forgotten I hum, sick of the sound of my own voice. If only I could sing, I'd Billie Holiday my way away from here. Coltrane, catch the next one out of town, onto something not so blue, less gray, all needle and no fix. I'd scratch whatever's beneath the surface and remix, mix my mouth back into something that made sense. If only I could sing.
Ooh,
Man,
that was good. Impressive.
there are a lot of word
awesome.
pictures there that I really enjoyed, and that was impressive.
Thank you.
That was very
Yeah.
impressive.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that, when you sit down to find that emotion, that's a very gritty poem. When you find that, when you wrote it, what were you feeling at the time?
Well, I work with a lot of incarcerated populations, so my job can be pretty heavy, and you take a lot of that home with you. My life in certain times is pretty heavy, and I take a lot of that home with me too. So I just write from that place a lot. I'm not necessarily, I always joke that I'm not like the bringer of joy when I write, but those emotions got to go somewhere too, and I'm used to teaching populations about sending those emotions into performance.
And what's it like teaching poetry to people who are incarcerated? I mean, have you seen like a big improvement in these people?
It's a very it's a roller coaster of sorts. You know, there are as many, I guess, triumphs as there are defeats. I would think that's with life in any way, shape, or form, though. So it's a rewarding thing, not for myself, but to see them recognize the voice that's inside of them. So it's something that definitely needs to be done. I think it's something that doesn't get enough attention. Not necessarily my program, but just rehabilitation instead of just incarceration.
What strikes, and Siobhan has brought other poets to our show too. I had no idea that the poetry movement in this community was as vibrant as it is.
Yes.
And do you know a lot of the other people that are participating in the poetry movement here?
Yeah, I mean we're a fairly tight-knit community. Hakeem Bellamy, the poet laureate, we do a lot of work together. We do work with a third party named Colin, who's we're Urban Verbs, but we do a lot of poetry programming with a lot of different people. Andrea Serrano was just on the show.
Yes.
I understand. We do work with her. Jessica Lopez.
All these guys have been on here.
Yeah, and they all hit the schools too. So I'm not the only one doing the kind of work I do. They all kind of get out into the community and do good things.
Right. Yeah. Probably every poet that I've had on the show, and some of the artists have been on I'll Drink to That, and so you guys should check it out this Sunday, actually.
Yeah, this Sunday at 4 o'clock at the Art Bar.
At the Art Bar. And then if you want to hear more about, the story of I'll Drink to That and the Art Bar gig on Sunday, the little local IQ fairies are putting the new issue on the stand today, so
Nice.
check that out. That'll be on
the local IQ fairies.
mysteriously appear in the stands,
And
check
you have
that
a couple
out.
of other sponsors with the images that we want to show here and give credit
Yeah,
to.
definitely.
Let's run those, Dan, and show everybody what.
That's
That's
Carlos's
yours, your
business.
company,
That's
right?
my company. Yeah, that's my in-house business.
Fantastic. And then the New Mexico Immigrant Law Center.
That's
is
who we're benefiting. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Guerrilla Graphics, we should shout them out. They're at the bottom of the whole flyer, but they're helping sponsor the event too. Art Bar's hosting it for free, so.
That's awesome.
Well,
community getting together, all these artists and cool people making an
Yeah.
awesome scene happen, right? For us
Yeah.
to enjoy.
And anybody can come on out and the more the
Anybody,
merrier.
yeah. If you want to be a performer, I would say the best place to catch me is once I get off the stage to introduce the next act. So show up to an All Drink to That. It's wide open. It doesn't have to be anything you see on stage. It can be anything else. I'm just a big supporter of putting artists on a stage together.